Indra Vonk, leader of Deloitte Port Advisory, is with me today at TOC Europe. Fresh out of your conference talking about market intelligence and volatility. You said there were 3 tools to help offset supply chain challenges. You talked about diversification, nearshoring and smart digitization. I was wondering if you just expand a little bit on those for us, please.
Yeah, sure. I mean, those aren't, of course, the only tools that you can have in your arsenal to kind of help navigate uncertainty and let's say, changing market environments. But I think those are the 3 main ones, the easiest ones to kind of grasp as well. Diversification, it's kind of a traditional view on how to mitigate risk by itself. You can use it in financial industry. I don't know if you own any shares, for example, but they always say don't put all your eggs in one basket. Same goes for the maritime industry. Doesn't matter if you're a terminal operator, a shipping company, a port by itself, so the port with all the different terminals in it. By having a large variety of geographies, industries, activities, services, you can offset certain systemic risks in the market, well, not systemic, certain risks within the market. Let's say that you are 100% an exporter of Ukraine right now. Well, that means 0% business. If you have Ukraine and I don't know, maybe some other Black Sea type of revenues and somewhere in the south of Europe, somewhere in Africa, then of course you can leverage and offset somewhere. So that's kind of a logical one. And you see it on a portfolio level, on a project level, it's happening everywhere. The nearshoring by itself, and I think that was also during the other discussions that we had with the other presenters today, I think one that's most top of mind for most people these days, given the prolonged lockdowns in China, given it's been on front of many people with the disruptions that were happening in global supply chains, with the ever-recent being blocking the the Suez Channel, for example. It's an easy way to kind of reduce the things that can go along on a longer stretch of a transport route. And within Europe, the nearshoring narrative has been quite popular over the last, let's say, 3 to 5 years, something like that, with cheaper labor areas or cheaper production areas being rather close by, south of Europe, Turkey, north of Africa, used to be the Baltics for a large part, and it's simply something that's coming up, and in very specific commodity groups, like for example car manufacturing or clothing, you see a tendency of producers and distributors to kind of reshuffle their supply chain and reshuffle their networks. I mean, and it's not just in Europe. We have some clients in the US, I can't of course say who, but we're thinking about moving everything away from China or from Asia and relocating everything to Mexico and Canada for the very simple reason it's not necessarily cheaper, but it's less risk within the entire supply chain. And if you have your freight rates going through the roof, well, then of course it can push your cost benefit of moving those assets and those productions closer by. And then the last one is smart digitization. And notice that I say smart digitization, digitization, automation, so things that you can do to kind of increase visibility, decrease dependency on labor, for example, by doing it in a smart way, by focusing on actual, let's say, smart projects, digitization projects that truly have an impact, and not just a digitization to digitize, because that's something you see quite a lot, or an automation to automate. But actually have an impact and are focused on a long-term corporate strategy, or are focused at solving a specific issue that you have in your operation or your supply chain. They are extremely beneficial to reducing risks and uncertainty, increasing visibility, transparency, being an enabler for cooperation, and overall just reducing the noise that you have around you and the things that can go wrong in such a connected world as the global logistics and supply chain world.
And at Deloitte, what can you do to help your customers develop a sustainability strategy?
Yeah, so sustainability strategy specifically, well, let's say energy transition, or honestly for me, sustainability is kind of environmental, social, governance related. So more the triple P aspect of sustainability, the view of having your profit, your people, your planet, everything combined. It's a case by case basis. I mean, of course, we have the traditional business model of pushing a large number of services to our clients. But from a sustainability perspective, I mean, looking at some specific examples, maybe that's the easiest way to go about it. Helping with the calculations to see if a certain investment is worth it, both on the reductions in emissions that you're getting, the cost benefit that you're getting, the long-term business viability that you're getting out of it. It's linked to the diversification aspect that we just discussed, to see if certain product groups are maybe going down and being replaced by other ones that might be greener. So looking at those type of market dynamics and helping people see what the actual potential is of greening and the business cases behind the greening. Perfect example is what hydrogen is doing right now. So everybody wants to go for hydrogen and greener, both in, well, the supporting port operations even, maybe hydrogen for ship fuels, hydrogen for crane fuels, but also making sure that all the assumptions underlying all the investments that are needed, the infrastructure investments that are needed, are correct, and kind of guiding with financing, with long-term strategies, to make sure that you're not making any, let's say, mistakes that can't be undone and that would really hurt your bottom line. So it goes quite wide. I mean, sustainability strategies can be reducing the CO2 of your buildings that you have, can be looking at potential alternative fuels for your vessels, can be replacing your assets on your terminal to be more energy efficient, can be even linked to digitization, looking at how digitization can help reduce inefficiencies. Port call optimization, for example, has a very large impact on sustainability by reducing the waiting time of vessels, allowing vessels to slow down, making sure that you're efficient as possible. That literally translates into a reduction of CO2 and of fuel being burned. So there's a large number of different projects that you can do. And just as with digitalization, in my opinion, it's very important that you pick and focus on the right ones that are having the maximum impact and truly help your sustainability agenda, but also your company or your organization itself.
And we're talking here on day one of TOC Europe 2022. How is it to be back in at a trade show, a real live event?
Lovely. I must say I was here in October for the prior, I think it was the first live or semi-digital event. I think we filled half the room, not even, like 30% of the room. It's finally good to see that everybody is coming back outside, meeting again, talking again. It's good to see the old faces, all the people that you know, all the different firms that you know from the industry, and I think it's also like a conference like this it's perfect to once again meet and connect. And we talked at length about it during the prior discussion. That's what needed also to kind of offset that uncertainty, to help organizations go further, talk to your digital suppliers, talk to your asset suppliers, to your superstructure suppliers, and this is simply a perfect platform for it to kind of make sure that the industry is as connected as possible.
Indra, it's great that you're part of it. Thank you very much for talking to us today.